Guys, Emilio here from CrossFit Round Rock, talking about protein synthesis this week. First thing, what is protein synthesis? So, in layman's terms, it's just your body's ability to process new protein, specifically muscle protein. All right, but your body also has proteolysis, which is the degradation of that same tissue. So what we want is, and this is happening constantly, it's a battle the whole time, so what we want is to try to make that rate of muscle protein synthesis higher than the rate of that muscle degradation, right? So how do we do that, all right? How do we make it better? Well, last week we did a little talk about timing, food timing, and really when you look at studies, it's inconclusive as far as specific timing of protein and how it stimulates muscle protein synthesis. It's not that it's not a factor, it's that we just don't know enough about it yet, right? There's just way too many things to study. But what can be concluded and what is consensus across the board are these two things. Is first, how you stimulate that muscle protein synthesis, and then how you're feeding it. Okay, those two things are going to be your two factors in making it better. So the best way to stimulate that muscle protein synthesis is by exercise, and the two forms of exercise that we found to be the best is high intensity and long durations. So two separate types of working out. So you have your short bursts of high energy, like your 1 rep maxes, your glycolytic pathway. And then you have your really long duration, like your long runs, your marathons, your long rows, eliciting from that oxidative pathway. So if you think about it, glycolytic, high energy output, short period of time, oxidative, low energy output, but over a long period of time. So in reality, you're creating a heck of a lot of energy over a long period of time. So that energy goes into that protein synthesis. Up in that body's energy level, it's going to up that protein synthesis. All right? And then once we have that stimulation, we need to make sure that we have all the necessary food for that protein synthesis. So overall, make sure that you're getting enough protein in your diet. All right? If you're trying to gain weight, the rule of thumb is kind of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. But that can be tweaked a little bit, all right? It doesn't necessarily need to be that much for every single person. The biggest factor, though, is those amino acids. And a lot of foods and a lot of the proteins that we're taking, some of these amino acids are already in there. So take a look at how much you're actually getting. But the recommended ratio for amino acid and protein is 10 grams of amino acid per 20 grams of protein to give you that most efficient muscle protein synthesis. Okay, so went over muscle protein synthesis, a little bit about it, how to stimulate it, and then how to feed it a little bit better. Biggest takeaways here: keep those high intensity workouts, keep those long duration workouts, mix them up, okay, and then make sure that we're getting enough amino acids. A lot of people I know that have a really high protein diet but aren't thinking about supplementing that amino acid property into it. Okay, so think about that. Next week, we're going to be covering some of your supplement toxicity levels, and these are known as the tolerable upper limit of intake, also known as UI. So take a look at that, and we'll talk a little bit about it next week. Thanks, and check me out next week.